Hello, beautiful people. Welcome once again to today's episode on the Noble Show. Today, we are going to be talking to this man who has a lot in him. But let me just thank my sponsors. I want to thank C. Ryan Travels and C. Ryan Car Rentals for supporting me throughout the show. And I also want to thank ABS Couture for my beautiful outfit, Lizzie Beauty Center for my hair. Let's find out who we are talking to today on the show. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. On the Noble Show, our guest is Rev Timothy Bentum. He's an actor and a passionate preacher of the gospel. He's also a father and also a lover of Christ. Amongst all other passions that he has a strong desire to win souls to Christ. Timothy Bentum on the Noble Show. Today on the show, we're talking to this man who can sit with you and tell you a lot of things. And you just have to open your mouth because he has a lot inside of him. He's an actor and also a man of God. He's a preacher of the gospel. He loves the Lord and he likes to do a lot of things when it comes to ministerial work. Welcome, T, to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We know you already, so we're not going to talk much about. Tell us about yourself and all of that.
Yeah, let's skip it.
Yeah, so let's go to growing up. How was growing up like for you as a little boy?
Very eventful. I mean, I grew up in a very religious setting. You know, dad was like a pastor, mom was even more prayerful. You know, at 11, sent off to school. 13, started to smoke. You know, stayed in there for another maybe 17 years of addiction. Lots of things happening in there,
But
moving
did your parents
around.
know that you were
Well, at the very beginning, no, but of course, after a while, you can't hide. The habit because it's expensive, it's draining, it's very very. I don't want to use the word demeaning, but it gives you a particular kind of outlook because of bad hygiene, because of the expensive nature of it. All the money goes in there as opposed to getting
But
good
how
food
were
for
you
yourself and all of
funding
that.
all that? How were you funding it? Because you were not working.
Well,
You were
I was
young.
working. I mean, initially, yes, I wasn't working, and the very first time I got a hit, it was for free from a friend. Just try this. After you get hooked, and now you got to pay for it. And I started working in, I believe, 2000 in a TV station, and I met somebody there who was also on drugs, and so we sort of bonded, and then would go for wakers and go for sleepers. Just keep doing it and keep doing it. And because I was working, all the money went in there, and of course, it's never enough. So you resort to stealing, not stealing. When you steal your mother's stuff, is it stealing? Or
Yes,
just
yes.
he's woman of God. It's okay stealing. All right. So resort to taking stuff, and selling them daddy stuff, mommy stuff, and eventually, I remember stealing once from a church. I sat in the bus, and the lady sat next to me, the jacket like yours, and she put her head on the seat in front of her, and she takes out money and pays for her fare for whatever, and then puts it in the jacket. So the jacket is hanging, right? Because she's like this, right? So I pick the what do you call it, the purse,
And nobody saw you in the
and
bus.
then thankfully, no, but thankfully,
You're a criminal.
no, but if I was seen, I'll be dead by now. I say, so I make next stop, so I get down, and
Whoa.
and that was right in front of now Sunny FM.
Okay.
Then Sunny was in there, I remember. And then I went straight to Accra Central to go do my things and all of that. If you fast forward about maybe 10 years later, about 14, 15 years later, I'm driving down that same road with my wife. And I see a guy who's got an epileptic seizure. So he's hitting his head against the pavement. So I tell my wife, I say, baby, go pray for the guy. She looks at me like, are you serious? I'm afraid I'm Jinawa. You know that kind of thing. So I said, okay, so you park the car, let me go pray for the gentleman. And guess what? A miracle happens, the guy's fine. And then God reminds me of that day. Same spot I got down is the same spot this
Let
happened
me
at.
rephrase. The same spot you got out after stealing.
Oh.
That's the same spot you had a miracle. You prayed for. God has blessed you.
Remove the stealing part, please. Yeah. I mean, so it's a very eventful, I have lots of things happening to me growing up, and it's just grace that has found me.
Okay, I want to know this thing about drugs, with addiction. How do you get addicted to it? How does it feel when you're not getting the drug you want to take? How does it feel? How is the addiction like?
Let
I
me give
just
you the
want to,
number of a drug addict so you can call him. I come to stress my life.
because I wanted to know.
No,
Because
just kidding. I mean, there are a couple of things that happen. You've got something called cold turkey, where you get all very feverish and everything. Some people would twitch because they have. Some people would become very edgy, biting their nails and everything. So the different acts that happen when
okay,
you are when you're taking, basically. But it drives people to do things that ordinarily they wouldn't do. When people get into that particular space, it's crazy. They could do
can
anything.
someone die from that, or you just have to
You
you
could
only get
go
sick?
into some sort of cardiac issues,
Okay.
from that whole thing. But if you're able to stay at it, if you have a very strong will, that's what happens when they go to the rehab centers. People go there and then they'll now take you off slowly. So if you're doing 10, they'll give you 8 now, they'll give you 6 now, they'll give you 4 now, and bring you there, eventually. But if you're determined to succeed, determined to come out, God will help you.
How did yours happen?
Well, I mine shouldn't be a yardstick for anybody because I
No, I mean, how did you come out of it?
yeah, and that's exactly what I mean.
Oh, okay.
After 12 years of like serious addiction, I did 5 years of weed, and then I graduated to cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And after those 12 years, what stopped it? I went out, was going down to the ghetto to get it fixed. I met a guy who used to come eat in our house when I was growing up. He has family and they were going to church Sunday morning. So I talked to him, I still get my money, I still take some money from him, still go down, get my things, get home. And when I get to him, I feel so bad. It's as if looking at the guy I just met, my whole, that past, comes back to life, like you can be a better person than you are now. So I went on my knees in the room and I prayed. I said, God, Charlie, I tire. Just like this, pigeon, just like this. So this nonsense for stop. If me they take my money, go buy the thing. Okay. So I speak to him like one of my boys, and I've spoken to many mental health experts, like psychoanalysts and stuff. And they tell me it's impossible for you to be addicted for more than a decade and not have any withdrawal symptom whatsoever. But that's my story.
Well, you didn't have
I
any.
didn't have a single, after I prayed and decided this is the last time this happens, I didn't have one withdrawal symptom.
At what age was that?
Oh, this is recently. This was like maybe I was about 29 or 28 or something. Oh, no, maybe
So
32.
you were just fine, like you're okay.
Yeah, of course. The urge to want to go back wasn't physical, emotional craving. It was just me wanting to try again. Charlie, I see my boys and to maybe go back, but there wasn't or whatever. No, I didn't have any of those withdrawal symptoms. So God just helped me. For other people, yes, come to God. Admit that I need a problem. I have a problem. I need you to help me with it. And sometimes you've got to go through rehab. Sometimes you've got to go through particular prayer sessions because there's that spiritual negativity. There's that side to it. That's not just your will and you wanting to do stuff. There's that side to it that has to be dealt with through the lenses of spirituality. Yes.
How did you become a man of God? Is it that um, when you were a child you wanted to be, or it just came and or how did it happen?
Yeah. When I was a child, I wanted to be on TV. I'll stand in front of the mirror and do things and say things. Gotta be on TV. And little did I know that would happen. But the man of God part, I remember going to church with mom many years ago, and Prophet Opokunsi, I would say, "You're going to become a man of God." So for many years, kind of my boy, sorry, man of God, so there, and But he said that about 31 years ago. He's been my spiritual father since up until now. And every time he said, you know.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something I was gung-ho about. No, I wanted to make money and, give the church some, it's fine. But to really come into the fray, I think that even in God's plan, I was supposed to be a man of God. I think that, oh yeah. Oh, yeah, I know you're thinking now. No, but
You see the look I gave you?
I know, right? I think, the devil hit me with the drugs so hard. God said, no, change the plan. Hey, Gabriel, I'm not somewhere in the plan. I'm on the way. Let's use the drugs to now bless a lot of people. So God probably just rehashed the script. Now go and use your story to bless people.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just me.
Are you proud of the man you've become?
70% no, yes. I believe that there's a lot more that God has in store. I really wish. I mean, I could have been better considering where I'm from. I mean, if I had stayed at it, religiously, I'm sure my impact in the young people, my impact kingdom wise should be more.
Yeah, but you're alive, so it's not too late.
I know every
Once you're
new
not
day
dead.
is the rest of my life. Yeah. I know. There's the opportunities behind every door. I mean, every day. So I'm believing that we can do things differently and make more impact as human beings.
Okay, we're going for a break, but before we go for a break, describe Timothy in 3 words.
Jesus loving, prayer. I like prayer. Loves prayer. Loves my wife.
Maybe I went to any chimney and made We're still talking to Timothy Bentum on the Noble Show. Don't go anywhere. Stay and stay. Are you planning a trip or you're going for a holiday with a lot of destinations all over the world? Just decide on where you want to go and see Ryan Travels will take you there. We offer UAE visa, air ticketing, tour packages, hotel reservations, corporate travels, and many more. You can contact Ryan Travels on 0264 623 091 or 0302 408067. You can email cryanTravels at c.ryantravels@gmail.com. Ryan Travels. You pack, we plan. Welcome back from the break. This is still the Noble Show, and we're talking to Timothy Bentum on the show. He's sharing a lot with us on the show, Tim. Let's get a little personal. What are some mistakes that you did in your past that sometimes wants to pop up now that you have become a new
Man of
person?
God. Guess who? The guess. Yeah, I think that if I'm being blatantly honest and blunt, many men of God will say, or many people won't say that's a problem. But I have a lot of consciousness about it. So sometimes I see some nice guy look around and remember, hey, they have to look away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I'm from a family where my dad was pretty much, not polygamous. He was very godly, but before he got into the God space, he had 3 different women, so he got stepkids scattered all around. I really don't want that for my family. And so I'm very conscious. It tries to rear its head every now and then. Paul says, I find another law working in my members. He tries to decide what the things I want to do, I cannot do. If I don't want to do this, what I do. Before that, he says, I find another law. So there's a law working in my particular bloodline, and I don't want it to repeat itself.
Paul said that God should take away his weakness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
what weakness will let God take away from you?
Yes.
Besides that?
Sleep.
Why you sleep too much?
Not
but
too
it's
much.
It's not a bad thing to sleep.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I could stay awake and pray a lot more.
Okay.
Combining work and church and ministry and family and school is draining sometimes.
Why you're schooling now?
Yeah. Some sandwich thing that I about the second Bible school I've been to. But I go to the Assemblies of God Bible School in Sopon. January, June for 3 years. But it's a bit draining. So sometimes you get home and you're knocked out. But I wish I could just stay awake and do a bit of prayer, a couple hours before I go to sleep. Yes.
Okay. What kind of What are the kind of people you hate around you?
I don't hate people around me. I just don't like toxic people. But I found a way over time because of where I'm from. Almost everybody I'm sent to is very toxic. Everybody I'm sent to is a drug boy, is struggling with something, some girl problem, some booze matter. There's always a major issue in people's lives. And so I've learned to adapt as opposed to shunning the people's company because people come to you and with me people are very comfortable telling me I had an abortion last 2 weeks. I can't tell my pastor, but I have to tell you what do I do because of how I present myself and I
Yeah.
don't judge people too much. I try to be very inclusive, make people feel at home and then they tell you their deepest issues. Then you can deal with them as opposed to people, getting all suicidal and depressed. And so I think just about a couple of months ago, I decided one person, I said, no, I don't want this guy around me because he talks too much about people. The gossip is too much for a guy. That's a bit off. So let me just, stay away from him. I love him, but from a distance.
Okay.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that, anyways. Because even God did it in Genesis when He took Adam and Eve away from the garden. He still loved them, but He didn't
Absolutely.
want them to continue to stay there and sin to hurt Him. So the
Absolutely.
same thing is
Sometimes
fine.
you should just say, I mean, if you look at the virgins, the five virgins, the five wise ones, the wise ones said no. Sometimes you say no, say no, especially when it's going to,
Yes.
affect you eventually. It's good to say no.
Okay. The people you were doing drugs with,
Yes, ma'am.
when you got into a new life with Christ, did you go back to talk to them?
That's a very beautiful question. I think that I've still not gathered enough courage to.
Why?
I meet some of them every now and then. If you look at Alcoholic Anonymous, for instance, after 10 years, you still don't say I'm a recovered addict. You say I'm still a recovering addict, and this is my 10th year because
Wow.
people have recovered for 10 years and still slide right back, and being grounded and predicated strongly in the Word of God, that is a requirement to going back to the ghetto because these things are crazy. I do a lot of evangelism, but I haven't had, the guts to go back exactly where this was happening. Now, where I do church Sunday evenings is very close to one of the ghettos I used to go to. So these boys come by church every now and then. Some come to do for money with all their stories. Sometimes I give it to them, but I have a prayer I say about the money before I give it to them.
Okay.
It will bring them back eventually. And so there are underlying ways I try to,
Okay, if I say that you are scared of the fact that they'll judge you when you go there, am I right?
judge me.
So what is not giving you
No,
the
no,
courage
no, no.
to go
I
back?
don't think that I think that I rather I'm looking at a very big picture and not just the ghetto picture. All right. So I'm doing a lot of street evangelism. But they still come to church, like I'm saying. A couple of them will pass by and we'll talk and I'll still tell them stuff. I have very few who are very close to me. Like the guy who introduced me to drugs. He's pretty close to me. And we talk every now and then and we talk about these things. But the moment you drive it down too hard, they move away.
Ah, okay, I
And
get
that's
you.
the same problem that takes people, family members,
Yeah,
into the ghetto, away from family. Because family
yeah.
says, Jayo, Jayo, Kukwadi, Ebeku, Ebeku, Jayo." No, 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 no. You should love him. Because in the ghetto, they love him. And everybody out there is Babylon. Seven.
Okay, okay, okay. How are you able to combine ministry work with your career,
Yeah.
business, and acting, family?
How am
Like,
I?
how are you able to do all these things together? What's your secret?
I don't think there's secrets there. I just think that there's a scale of preference. There's priority. For me, family comes before anything else. Even before God, family comes first. Because if you understand how it works, before whole church thing, there was family, Adam and Eve before church came.
Yeah.
So I'm more, big on family. And if I'm prioritizing, I put family, I put church, I put work, and then I put school. And it works as long as you prioritize right. I mean, if I'm doing something and my son walks to me and says, Daddy, I have a question. I don't care what I'm doing. I listen to his question. And I try to answer his question. Because when they grow and they go through tertiary, then they have all kinds of questions coming through. And because they have answers to the questions. Who did Cain marry? Why was there incest in Genesis? Questions. Who created God? For instance, my son asked me. How when they get to university, people ask them these questions. It throws them off. And then they defect to other faiths because they think that Christianity doesn't have the answers. And so I answer the questions as much as I can. So for me, family comes first. Everything else comes under, and then we take it from there. As
Okay.
God gives us grace, yes.
If you are dying today, let's say
Yeah.
something is um, hurting you so bad, or something is trying to kill you, or you are in pain and you're almost giving up on yourself.
Yeah.
But there's one thing you don't want to leave. You want to just hold on to that thing no matter what. No matter what happens to you, no matter what is going on with you. You're not going to let go of that thing. What is that going to be?
I don't understand. Answer the question. You know the answer to
I
that
don't know.
question.
I'm asking. I know my own. I'm asking
It's
you.
God. You know answer. I don't see. It's not even a question to ask. I don't see how I go. It's like the other things fade away. I don't care. It's God. I really straight up God. Yes.
Okay, so let's compare your life now and then. What is that What is that one major difference between now and then that you are glad to have?
God, baby.
No, I'm talking about your life now in Christ
And
and your
then it's
life
God.
here. What is one? Okay,
God.
that's all.
What else? I mean,
Okay.
because that's what brings all the
Oh,
change.
okay.
You know, I mean, then I was all over the place. Now I'm living in my own place. I got three beautiful kids. I have an adopted one. I have a beautiful wife. I this church, the young people who live in the
A
house with me.
beautiful,
They will say the
beautiful.
Tina Mu say, "Eh, no, get no offer." I
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Now we are in the easy.
No, no, everybody for no. Everybody say my wife five brutal.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, where I am now is worlds apart from where I was then. Then I was just this young man who thought that life was all about women between women's legs, bottle of alcohol and the weed and the coke and the thigh and the brown stuff. But now there's more to life than that.
Okay. Do you believe that besides all these things, uh, do you believe that pride can also bring you down?
Well, pride can most definitely. I mean, that's one thing I consciously work on every day. So I intentionally would sometimes eat with the boys at home on the floor. Intentionally. And it's very intentional because it's very easy. It's called a slow fade. You don't see you going there slowly before you know it. You see your body, big boy, be then now you can't talk to people. I don't
Yeah.
know. Before you know it, you're there. I drove through Lagos one of those days. I met a professor, Ben Hinson, Bob Hinson. We used to be with him somewhere, and he says to me, he's taken. He was walking by the road. So I said, "Oh, Prof, where are you going?" And he says, "No, I'm going there. I want to just take church." I said, "Prof, I know how many cars you have in your home." He said, "Yes." It keeps me grounded. You know, so I think that we must intentionally deal with pride by being grounded. Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's why I'm wearing my hoodie and things.
Has that got to do with the way you dress too? Has pride got to do with the way you dress?
Kakra home, kakra home.
Oh yeah, sure.
And the
So,
way we
but people
walk,
want to know.
and the way we
Okay,
walk it,
it's true. But we want a person looking good all the
it's
time.
beautiful. I don't look good.
I'm a
I
casa.
can wear
So
hoodie and look good and
I'm not
bounce.
saying you're not looking good too. Okay, with your experience and whatever it takes that you've been through, your ups and downs and all of that, what would be your words of advice to anyone watching the show?
I think that on earth, passion, hard work, and determination can't give you anything. It's the PhD for me. Passion, hard work, and determination. For heaven, you must love God, like the Bible says, with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. It's important. When it says all, I mean all. I said, love God like crazy. I mean, be able to stand for what you believe in, you know,
Okay.
and fight for it till you die.
Okay, give me 1 minute sermon on love.
Every fruit of the Spirit is a consequence of the love. There are nine fruits of the Spirit, all eight of them come out of love. So nothing can happen without love. Paul said, I could speak the tongues of angels. I could speak every other language known to man and spirits. But if I don't have love, I am nothing. Love would put families together. Love will solve problems. Love would make ministries even better. Love takes away the politicking of life. And love brings people together to a place where God is, because God doesn't have love. God is love. Amen.
Amen, my God. Thank you so much for coming
You're
to the
welcome.
show.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
It's been an amazing time here today with Timothy Bentum on the Noble Show. He has shared a lot with me on the show, and I believe you've also learned a lot today because you're also watching the show. So he has shared a lot with all of us today on the show. I want to thank Sea Ryan Travels and Sea Ryan Car Rentals for supporting me throughout the show. Lizzie Beauty Center for my hair, ABS Couture for my beautiful outfit. And I want to thank you also for sticking with me today on the show. See you same time next week. My name is Dr. Gabriela.